Burnsy, do you mind if we just start with Taylor? Obviously he wasn't there. Can you talk us through his absence, please?
Yeah, health and safety. So found out early this morning. I presume it was late last night yesterday. So yeah, unfortunately he'll miss this week.
How much of a hole does that leave for you heading to Geelong?
Yeah, he's obviously a very, very good player, and he's been our best informed key forward. So there's a hole, but that also creates an opportunity for someone to fill it and hopefully grasp it with 2 hands and play good footy.
Has it opened the door for Fogg, I suppose? You had a quiet one when recalled last week. Is there a bit more emphasis on him stepping into Texas' shoes, I suppose?
There wouldn't be an emphasis, no. We've got to do it together. You know, we're going down Geelong. It's going to be probably windy, a little bit wet. We need the forwards working together as a collective. So yeah, sometimes it's not your turn to get a few marks and a few goals. Sometimes it does end up that way, but we've got to make sure whoever we bring in that we're competing aggressively in front of the ball and making sure that we're locking in our front half as much as we possibly can. So that'll give us the most opportunities.
There's a bit to look at training. I suppose we'll start with the tallest blokes out there. They swap jumpers. Riley O'Brien did enough in the sample, obviously.
No, not obviously. No, yeah, Riley was good. Yeah, obviously really good last week. But we're still going through so many things at the moment. Like you've mentioned, obviously Tex not playing this weekend. There's a few other boys we're waiting to see how they come up. There's a few sore boys. So selection we'll go right down to the wire tomorrow evening. But yeah, look, they're both. The pleasing thing is they're both in good form. The 2 rucks. I thought Strawny was quite good last week with Ryder and Marshall. They're pretty hard to contain, those 2 boys. And as we know with Rob, he's had some terrific games this year at AFL, and it was just pleasing that he really bounced back hard last week in the SNFL.
Wayne Miller was in the blue bib training up forward. Does he come in if Josh Rochelli's potentially injured?
Yeah, we'll give Josh a breather. You know, like he's done terrifically well, Josh, to come in from round 1. You can probably see just slightly tapering off, a few more knocks, a few more hits. So it's in his best interest probably to have a little bit of a breather this week. That hasn't been decided either. Look, today we had a 16v16 as well at times, so it wasn't the 4-18. And obviously there's still a few more boys that in the yellows that have played really good football as well that are a chance to come in.
And Butts obviously was wearing back training again. Is he a big inclusion this week against Geelong? Obviously have a pretty potent forward line as well. Yeah, I think Bucks has been one of our shining lights for the younger players that we brought into the team over the last year and a half. He's done terrifically well, and when you're in a developing team and at times there's a few inside 50s against, he's been fantastic for us. I spoke about a week ago. We still go back to that Carlton game when they had those 70+ inside 50s. Butts was on Harry McKay, the Coleman medalist, who didn't take a mark on him. So he's having good little wins along the way. You know, he's come back from COVID though. He's had a week off. There's always that little unknown when the boys come back from that, how they will perform in terms of physical performance. But at the end of training today, I had a quick chat and he was a big smile on his face and said he felt great. So hopefully he adds a bit to us this weekend.
How's Matt Crouch tracking? What does he have to do to get back in?
Yeah, Matt's going well. Yeah, like you saw last week, we saw the game or not. There was a really good team performance down there at SNFL level. And Crouchy was very, very good, but there was Schoenberg and Pedler that were terrific in the midfield as well. So there's getting a little bit more depth than we may have had in the past through the experience of those younger blokes now that 2 to 3 years in. And obviously Matty's a terrific player, has played some great football at this level, and yeah, he's doing everything we want him to do. So they're all around the mark.
And there's been a lot of talk about your rucks, potentially playing both genuine rucks in the seniors. Is that something you're considering? Yeah,
we'll consider everything at this point in time. Like We've been throwing the curveball, obviously, late last night, early this morning with Tex. So, yeah, we'll have to sit down and go through everything and have a look at it and assess it and see what's best for us for the game. And look, there might be an opportunity somewhere else that we haven't seen yet that a young fella might get a crack at something different as well. So we'll go through that as match committee. But it's a little bit of an unknown at this stage because it's only happened over the last 24 hours and we've had our major training session today and selection's still over 24 hours away. So there's a bit to play out yet.
The team was a little bit wayward in front of goals last week. Is that something you guys have been focusing on this week as well, set shots?
We've focused on it throughout the pre-season. Yeah, it's interesting. We were quite good early in the year, and then we've tapered off in that area as well. You know, it's well, if you can watch us training, and all training probably since late December, late November, we've been doing goal kicking in training, goal kicking post training. So there's yeah, it's a hard one to understand why sometimes you miss a few goals, but you know, we always look at that. Sometimes we don't look at that connection between defensive mid and attacking mid if you miss a kick or miss a handball too. So there's still plenty of areas we need to work on in that regard. But we've come a long way from where we were, I thought, last year with some of our offence. You know, we're over 50 inside 50s a game now, so we're getting a lot more opportunities. And you know, the pleasing thing is we're getting the ball in our hand a lot more than what we did last year as well.
Scott, can I just clarify with Rash? You said you'll give him a breather. Does that mean he's been ruled out, or is he talking just for the week? You'll give him a breather?
No, he won't play this weekend. Yeah.
Right. And Junior, what have you seen from Wayne? Obviously, there was a bit of talk about whether he would be down back or up forward, and he looked like he was sort of mid to forward this morning. What have you seen from him in recent weeks?
Yeah, he's played a little bit everywhere at the SNFL level too. He's played a bit back wing, a little bit forward. Look, he's just a quality player, obviously, as you would have seen today. There'd be a few edits that no doubt you'd take and watch. And when he gets ball in hand, he uses it very, very well. You just got to remember, it's 2 years is a long time out of the game. And you know, we've said publicly we probably heard bringing him back straight in for round one because we love him so much, we want him in. But he's worked his way into match fitness a fair bit over the last 6 to 8 weeks. He's running a lot better. Feels really strong in that knee. And you know, look, he's not too far off. We've been really pleased with the way he's been going.
Where do you think, if he was to get selection, he would predominantly play?
Well, he's got a bit of a utility. He can play anywhere, can't he?
Righto.
Any last one? How's Dorse tracking with his ear?
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, so he obviously got that bit of a knock, and he got out there and trained today and trained quite well, so he'll be no worries.
The club approached the AFL, I think it was after the Brizzy game, just to ask about a few umpiring decisions. Obviously, the umpires are out there today and have been for the majority of the season, and Nixie was caught in a bit of a chat with him. Did you get any clarity on, you know, a few of the decisions, or did you get the answers that you were after?
Oh, we get clarity every week. No matter what it is. It's not just one specific week. And as you know, there's been a few changes over this season anyway, that we need clarity with all the time with the rule changes. And then there's the old school rules, whether it's chopping the arms or holding on or holding the ball, all those sorts of things that we just always probably send through 10 to 12. Some we get and some we don't. You know, some we're a bit lucky to get sometimes. We'll just ask, you know, what is the ruling here? So we're all over it. So when we do get the umpires out here and we do train together, the players fully understand what we can do and what we can't do.
Sorry, a bit of a question with that notice. Sorry, Reece. The SANFL, I think, is relaxing its vaccination policy, allowing players that haven't had a vaccination to come back and play. From a broader point of view, it's probably a matter of time before this happens in the AFL. Is that a positive thing that players who may not have been vaccinated and left the game could now potentially return?
We just do whatever the rules say. So that hasn't been put in place yet, has it?
I think the SANFL has released the AFL.
But the AFL haven't.
The AFL hasn't clarified its position yet.
I'll wait for the AFL to do something before I comment on it.
Yeah.